So today's PowerPoint of about me is a World Wide Web Consortium, also known as W3C, and we are going to some of his background and his content, current current trends, and the technologies they support. So first of all, so what does W3C do? So W3C's primary activity is to develop protocols and guidelines that ensure long-term growth for the web. Its standards define key part of what makes the World Wide Web work. So everybody knows about the internet and the web, so it's just basically the standards and how it works.
The web is amazing. You can play games with friends on different continents. Find answers to any question in seconds. See a live feed of our planet from space. Translate languages with a single click. Share a recent photo from a fun trip, or tell everyone you know about your cool new job. But it wasn't always like this. It wasn't always a beautiful, infinite world of knowledge and activity. It's easy to forget how disconnected we were before the web. It was a lot harder to find and share information. So many of our online experiences today are powered by standards under the hood, the fruits of years of collaboration. Without developers working together, we would need different browsers to view different sites, and search engines would be much less powerful if the web were split into silos. In fact, it's safe to assume that without today's connected tech landscape, we'd probably be in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, fending off maniacal desert gangs and watching our civilization crumble into a seemingly endless vacuum of nothing. A word of advice: nobody ever beats zombies alone. This glorious web is our collective responsibility, and we need to treat it as such. It's a rich, valuable digital world, but it wouldn't hold together without the standards we use every day. So, how can we take care of it? By taking action. By coding, writing, designing, discussing, and defending the open web. Thank you for supporting web standards. Please help us shape the next era. Join our efforts to build an open web platform for the future.
And this is the video defining about its functions. So this is the web video found on their website, W3C.org, and there's a reference to it. Okay, so a little bit of background. So in 1989, web designed by and built by CERN by Tim Berners-Lee It was formed in 1994, and he's the chairman to lead the web to its full potential as a forum for information, commerce, communication, and collective understanding. And they develop some protocols and promote its evolution and the protocols and the standards for the World Wide Web. So, and it was a first set up by, as I mentioned earlier, Tim Berners-Lee. So there are many views on who invented the internet. So it was probably a mix of many people's knowledge and specialties. Um, and he's the development of a language of the internet. In other words, what we everybody knows is HTML and HTTP, which are used to form web pages and web designing, very common. Okay, so the consortium is based of 503 members, 3 hosts, um, and the members pay their fees and 5,000 affiliate. So this is the whole information I found on the W3C.org, and they have regional offices, for example, in UK, US, Switzerland, Tunisia, Hong Kong, Austria, and the work is organized into 4 domains: architecture, UI, technology and society, and web accessibility, which I'm going to talk about all 4 of them later in the PowerPoint. And the process defines a way of working. Okay, so W3C has 4 host institutes. The organizers are run by the CEO, Tim Berners-Lee, and who's the overall director of the W3C, and it's also like run by a management team who perform strategic planning and management. So the current trends on web development leading to more sophisticated architecture, web services, web pages, device independence, transmission, and use of trusted technology. And the tools they use is HTML validator, test development, Amaya. Hope some of you are familiar with that. And Jigsaw, CSS validator. So these are some of the tools and software they use. Okay, the standards. So the standards define an open web platform for application development that has the unprecedented potential to enable developers to build rich and interactive experiences powered by vast data stores. So they develop these technical specifications and guidelines through a process designed to maximize consensus about the content of the technical report. So to ensure high technical quality, to ensure to under endorsement by the World Wide Web community. And why are the standards important? It is really important to have standards in software development. Standards set a framework from which software designers and developers can work. It allows the software to work with other software that also is built to support the standard because both talk the same language. So the internet was designed to be an open domain, accessible by all, and allowing connectivity. Without standards, the internet simply wouldn't work. So standards are very important because in software development, because they set a framework and then in which the software designers and development can work on. So the areas of work in W3C and the currently and involved in. So first is accessibility. They have developed a set of standards around accessibility that website developers are able to follow to ensure that their website is able to be used by anyone with a disability. So anyone who has created a web page before or website, they know that accessibility is one of the main tools they need to be have on the web pages. So it has 12 guidelines which result in 3 level of accessibility: acceptance level A, double A, and triple A. So I'm not going to go in more details into that, but this is just a level of accessibility they need to have on the web page. Depends on what kind of web page they are making. So HTML. So this is the language that like everybody knows, and the most released version is HTML5. And the group works from the 1998 since principle design developed by Mr. Lee. The group produced deliverables all involved in the improvement and extension of use of HTML. And the latest version of it was released in October 2014, which is HTML5. So that's the latest version anybody can use in order to create the web page with the privacy. So this group is an interest group rather than working, so it monitors rather than creates standards. The group looks at current privacy issues and trends on the global scale and advising on how privacy can be better addressed in the various working groups in standard creations. Okay, so these are some of the standards. So in web design and application, they have for building the web page, they have HTML, JavaScript, mobile web, SVG. So almost everybody is familiar with all those languages. In web of services, so they're also focusing on the technologies that enable web access anywhere, anytime, using any device. So mobile devices, which is like trending past decade, I mean 6-7 years, and in electronic printers, even automobiles, which is like coming right now in all the cars, mobile web, voice browsing, for example Bluetooth or like Siri, and web and TV, multi-modal access, web architecture. So focus on foundation of technology and principle which sustain the web, including URLs. So the protocols and identifiers, the principles, data formats, the web pages use, and the web of services. So one of the things they have recently in the news I was watching, they have came up with payments, seeking to integrate payments into the open web platform. The result is will be new business opportunities and improve user experience from online transaction like eBay or Amazon, reduce fraud, increase like ease access and the payment solutions which any user can use. Security, transferring data from one domain to another, for example, mobile banking, like the payment method, and needs to be more secure. And XML encryption and XML signatures are key pieces they have identified to increase this. This was one of the news I was watching earlier. I mentioned about the payments. So they, on November 20th, they came out with the FIDO 2.0 platform, and in which passwords are both on everyday inconvenience for weakness against the modern society threats. So user reuse passwords across different sites and password database which are easily accessible by hackers or any other threats. So W3 is committed on bringing the web to its full potential and more secure. And so they have also created a web standard such as HTML5, like I mentioned earlier, and creating a web API for payments. So this should lead to a simpler as more secure user experience on web and on mobile. So the new API will support a wide variety of payment options from credit and debit cards. And then this has already been supported by some of the companies such as Bloomberg, Telecom, Federal Reserve Bank, MAG, Robobank, and WorldPay. So these are the major companies that's already using the technology. And these are the references from which I have got the data from. And the first one is, of course, W3.org, which is the main website of the World Wide Web Consortium. So any questions, please let me know. Thank you.